We're very excited and honored that you've joined us today. My name is Miracle. I'm going to turn it over to Sochi right quick. So for those who are Spanish speaking, you will be able to get the same information as well. Welcome, Sochi.
Thank you. I'm going to give the instructions to our Spanish speakers. Bienvenidos a todos. Gracias por estar aquí. Estamos muy contentos. Y para que puedan entrar a su interpretación, hay en la barra de abajo de las opciones de Zoom, hay un círculo o un globo donde dice Interpretation. Hagan clic ahí y ahí pueden elegir Spanish. Después, asegúrense que se pongan en silencio o mute. Cualquier pregunta, aquí estamos para ayudarles. Gracias.
All right, welcome again, everyone. My name is Miracle Jones. I'm the Director of Policy at One Hood Media. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm very honored that y'all have taken this Tuesday to join us. We are going to ask that you mute your devices while you're here with us. For those of you who are not aware, One Hood is a social justice arts organization that uses art, culture, and various mediums to amplify social justice issues. We are very honored to be a part and to partner with MomsRising. I'm also going to send it to my colleague, Ryan, who will be doing a musical selection for us later in the show for everyone to introduce himself before we kick it over to Karen.
Yeah, hey y'all, welcome. I'm Ryan. I'm the Civic Engagement Programs Coordinator at One Hood Power. My pronouns are he, him, his. As Miracle alluded to, I've been booked to do a little sing-along with y'all later, so I think that'll be around 7:15 or so on the schedule. But yeah, excited for this call. Welcome.
All right, so again, that's us at One Hood. I'm going to kick it over to Karen, who's going to talk about MomsRising and all the work that they do for their organization.
It's we. In this climate, we're all working together, right? Hi, everybody. How's everybody feeling tonight? Kids, hey, good. Thank you. It's so good to see you all. I know it's a Tuesday night. It's a busy time of year. We're so excited to be celebrating the power of voting with you. I'm Karen from MomsRising. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And we're so honored to join so many great partners and community leaders for this event. The goal of tonight is to celebrate voting and to remember how powerful we are, how powerful our voices are, this process, and for everybody on the call who can't yet vote, to get you excited about the idea of voting and knowing from a very early age that your voice is critically important and you can make a difference and vote for people who are going to represent the values and the issues you care about. So that's something to celebrate for sure. If you have a celebratory item, please grab it. It doesn't have to be one we sent you. It can be anything you have around. There we go. We have some horns. Can we hear any horns? Do we have any horn players out there? Oh, that's an uplifting sound, isn't it? I feel like ducks are going to be landing in my yard any minute. Thank you so much for that. I'm feeling uplifted. There's still time to get a kit. So if you didn't get one from us, we'll put a link in. You can sign up to get a kit from us and continue the celebration through November 3rd and beyond. Real quick, MomsRising is moms and anyone who's ever had a mom joining together to speak out about issues we care about, including voting. Our Spanish season, we're joining organizations and leaders like you, and we're reaching over 15 million moms, encouraging them to make their voices heard. This is one of the ways we're doing it. We're excited for tonight and all the great speakers we have coming up. And I'm going to flip it over to one of our super volunteers, Chris, who's going to tell us why she is so passionate about this election and voting.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me. My name's Chris. My pronouns are she, her. And I'm a PA mom, and I'm one of MomsRising's Beacons of Hope. This is my son, Cal. And I'm passionate about voter engagement because I think it's just so important right now, and maybe now more than ever, that, you know, we make our voices heard. And being a beacon of hope with Moms Rising has given me the opportunity to encourage and support others to vote in this upcoming election. And, you know, I, like so many of you, are probably busier than ever right now, more stressed, more exhausted than we've ever been before. But I know I can't stop because there's just too much at stake right now. We need to get out there. We need to take action. And I've just been so encouraged by the overwhelming amount of voter engagement that I've seen for this election, and the involvement and the enthusiasm that I see is what keeps me going, even whenever I get to those really busy, stressed, exhausted points. And I know that, you know, we're going to get out there, we're going to go and make a difference. And so let's go vote PA. So thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for all you're doing. Thanks for all of what all of you are doing. We know everybody's doing important work on the ground, making sure friends and families have a plan to vote, they know where to vote, they are voting. So thanks for all of that great work. And we're excited to celebrate with you tonight. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Miracle.
All right.
Or is it me?
I could do it too. We're fine. We're going to go off the phone, all the tech issues and all. We know that a lot of people have a lot of questions about what to do in this election and what's happening, what's going on. And we have an organization called Common Cause, which is really doing a lot of work here in Pennsylvania, educating folks on their rights, what to look for at the polls. And so we want to bring on Susan. If you are here.
I am.
We're going to bring on Susan she's going to do a little presentation. While you're here, you can use the chat to ask questions of Susan. She'll do her presentation, and then you can ask her questions during and after. But welcome, Susan.
Thank you so much for having me. I am thrilled to be here. And so I'm only going to talk for a very little bit because I know that there are a lot of questions out there about voting, about what to expect, about what you need to know. And I want to leave a lot of time for folks to ask those questions and get them answered. So today was the last day to apply to vote by mail. Are there folks on the call who did that? Can you raise your hands? Who voted by mail this time around? I see a bunch of you. So vote by mail, just to make sure everyone can, we're going to start from the very beginning. You would have had to be registered to vote, and then you apply to vote by mail, right? And you can either do that online, you can do that by paper, you can do that at a satellite elections office. Once you get that ballot, regardless of how you get it, whether it's in the mail or whether you're picking it up in person, you need to fill out the ballot with a blue or black pen. Fill out the circles completely, right? No X's, no check marks, no purple glitter pens. I know that I have certainly been tempted to fill out Scantrons in fun colors. This is not the time to do that. That ballot then gets folded and put in the secrecy envelope. So the secrecy envelope is the smaller white envelope that just says official election ballot on it. That envelope gets sealed. Please don't make any marks on that envelope, no scribbles. Ideally, no coffee stains, and then put that envelope in the outer envelope, which is going to have your name on it and a barcode. That barcode is tied to you as a voter, so no one can vote twice, right? That barcode gets scanned in. That's how they know your ballot is your ballot and no one's else. On the back of that envelope, there is what's called a declaration. So you'll want to fill out your name, your signature, your address, and then the date that you filled out your ballot, not your birth date. Apparently that is a mistake that folks are making a lot. So if you have your ballot and have not yet turned it in, turn it in tomorrow. I would recommend not putting it in the mail, right? We are running out of time and we want to make sure that every single vote counts. So put it into a Dropbox. You can find your county Dropboxes listed at votespa.com. And there's a ballot tracker, Dropbox tracker, so you can find the one that's closest to you, or your county elections office. our recommendation is that you hand deliver it, you don't stick it in the mail, just given what we know about timing and what we know about the US Post Office and how important this election is, and how much it matters that every single vote counts. If you have requested a vote by mail ballot and that ballot has not arrived, I know we're hearing from a lot of people who have that particular question, you can request a replacement ballot. Our recommendation is not to do this online. You want to actually call or go to your county board of elections or a satellite elections office. I know that county boards of elections are overwhelmed with phone calls, so it's going to be a wait on the line, and I wish there was something we could do about that, but your best bet is to go in person if that's at all possible. I know it's not always an option, but ideally that's what happens. If you have requested a vote by mail ballot, and I'm seeing this question in the chat, and decide that you want to vote in person, you can surrender that ballot on election day, right? You'll show up at the polls with your vote by mail ballot and the envelopes that it came with. You'll turn the ballot into a poll worker who will cancel the ballot, or they call it spoil the ballot, and then you'll be able to vote normally. If you do not have the ballot or do not have all of the envelopes, you can still vote in person, but you'll have to vote on a provisional ballot. So those are ballots that get counted last because they need to make sure that you haven't voted a different time already. On election day, just really quickly, I'm sure folks know this, but if you are a first-time voter in a precinct, you need to bring ID. It does not need to be photo ID. A utility bill that has your name and address on it works. A student ID, an employer ID, all of those things work. We recommend you don't bring an out-of-state driver's license just because that can gum up the works and get a little tricky depending on what the poll worker training has looked like. We should be prepared on election day for a potential long wait, right? I'm not saying this to scare you away. I'm saying this so you are prepared on election day, right? Bring your snacks, bring your coats, bring fully charged phones and entertainment, particularly for the parents who are planning to go stand in line on election day, right? Like come with your kit to make sure that you can stand in line and wait. On election day, there will likely be lots of folks outside your polling location, right? So folks who are affiliated with candidates or parties handing out materials, folks who are equipped with nonpartisan election protection gear. Those are folks who are available to answer questions for you. If you have questions about whether or not something you're seeing at your polling location is right, if you're having concerns, I would encourage you to call the Nonpartisan Election Protection Hotline. It's open now, so you can always call and ask your questions. As of now, it's staffed by attorneys who are trained on perennials. Our vote, at least in the chat. And so I'm going to pause there for a minute and see if we want to go to questions so I can make sure everyone's getting those answers they need. Question was the website to find the boxes. That I would send you to the Department of State website, which is votespa.com. I know it's a government website that says a .com. It's the right website. So that's where y'all should go. When you are voting in person, a couple things to know for COVID precautions, right? This is something that we are getting a lot of questions about. So you should obviously wear a mask. You should obviously practice social distancing. We recommend people bring their own pens to the polling location, depending on where you are in Pennsylvania. You may be using a touch screen. You may be filling out a paper ballot. It is just easier and safer if you have your own pen. That way you're not sharing anything. It's also worth noting that only a limited number of people are allowed in the polling location at one time. So you may see lines outside that may look a lot longer than they would because folks are stretched out, right? We're looking for 6 feet of distance between people standing in line just to make sure that everyone is safe. Poll workers should be wearing masks. Voters who do not choose to wear a mask are still allowed to vote, but different counties have different precautions in place for those people. Some counties are asking them to vote separately. There's just a lot of different options. So bottom line, and I will leave it here because I know you all have a full schedule this evening, is that if you have any questions or concerns or something doesn't look right to you, please don't hesitate to call the Nonpartisan Election Protection Hotline. That's 866-OUR-VOTE. And the folks on the line are trained to answer questions, they're trained to identify problems, and they're trained to escalate issues to folks who can actually do something about the problems that we see. And with that, I will turn it back either to Miracle or Karen. I'm not sure, I'm tossing it to.
We're here. We want to thank you so much for that. We are just having a little bit of technical difficulties with going live on Facebook. So we're just trying to work that out. So we thank you all for your patience with everything. Again, if you have any questions for Suzanne, you can put them in the chat, or you can come on speaker right quick if you would like to, or did she answer all of your questions? We're good with the questions? Rebecca, go ahead. Rebecca, that was your question. She would like to know, how can you join Moms Rising?
Oh, we'll put links in the chat. Yeah, we'd love to stay in touch with folks on the call if we haven't met prior to this, and to the other host organizations as well.
Okay, so again, we want to thank you all so much for coming on and joining with us. One of the reasons why we have such a successful event is that we were able to partner with organizations like Take Action Mon Valley, like a Single Mom Defined, like Women's March Pennsylvania. And so for our next segment, I believe Heather is with us. She's going to come in and just talk in about come in and talk with what the organization is with Single Moms Defined, and preview a special panel for us. So welcome, Heather.
Is Heather not on? This is her sister, Farah.
Oh, she's there. You're muted, Heather. You're muted.
Okay, all right. I wanted to make sure she was there. Okay.
Hey everyone. Hey, can everyone hear me okay? Okay, sorry about that. I wasn't expecting to jump on. We just delivered Mom's meals. So we delivered about 50 meals. My daughter's here. We're now in our PJs participating. So it's okay because we are moms and you guys, you know, understand the chaoticness. So welcome everybody. Welcome to the Single Mom Defined members who are online. We're so excited because we did like probably, you know, a couple hundred meals tonight. So yeah, give me 1 second because I was not prepared, and I'm gonna.
You're just talking about what your organization, and then John's gonna play the
I
video.
can, yes, most definitely. So Single Mom Defined is a online group. We're also in person. So we're headquartered here in Pittsburgh. We have a mission to rewrite the narrative about Black single moms and create an inclusive, supportive space for all single moms. The online and in-person group connects moms to resources, services, and advocacy opportunities, and most importantly, each other. Most recently, we launched a babysitting co-op thanks to the Pittsburgh Foundation to help address our county and really the country's child care crisis. And we sat down with moms and shot a video, which we're going to roll to. And, you know, we talked about engaging our kids in this year's election, as well as elevating issues of importance. Hey mamas, welcome to the Single Mom Defined Party Panel. I'm Heather Hobson, founder of Single Mom Defined, an online and in-person support group for single moms. Some of those moms are here today. We have Farah that's already got the party started, Janaea, Rebecca, and Brooke. And this year, more than ever, the single mom vote matters. According to 2017 data, more than 16 million unmarried parents are raising more than 24 million children in America. And ladies, I just read recently that we're a growing political force. So why is it so important for single moms to vote this year?
You know, Heather, for me, it has to be about representation. You know, we need elected officials that understand the challenges that single moms have, that are going to, you know, be able to advocate and just magnify our voices within the House and the Senate. Representation is what matters.
Yes.
Right,
And
right.
also, we need to let our voices be heard. So many decisions that we make as women and mothers are being decided by decision makers. These decisions can either help us or harm us. So we have to let our voices be heard and know that our vote counts.
Right, right. And that really sets a really good example for your kids. I always tell my daughter, speak up, advocate for yourself. And I try to involve her in the voting process. For instance, she looks forward to voting in person. This year, we're going to do it by mail. She gets her sticker. Sometimes she asks to press the button. And, you know, to get her ready, we're going to vote this year for movie night. We'll pick out a title. We'll also pick out pizza. Like, we need a tiebreaker, so we'll call Aunt Farah. Farah called us today. They had a vote on whether or not to put the fish tank in the living room, and Caitlin was the tiebreaker. So we want to get them prepared. So anybody else, Farah, like, how are you getting the kids? I know my nephew, it's his first time voting this year.
I'm getting JR excited because he's adult. He's an adult now. So part of being an adult is making decisions, and voting was one of those decisions. So we sat down together and filled out his online application. When he got to the part to check for Republican or Democratic, he didn't know what to do. So we discussed both sides and he made a choice on his own. But the main point is, he's going to vote this upcoming election.
Right. And what about little kids, Brooke? I know you were telling us about some stuff that you're doing with your kids at your child care center.
Yeah, so what we did with the children this year to get them learning about how to vote is we read a book together. That's how we learn everything, read books. So this book, Vote for Our Future, the kids really enjoyed it. And what we tied in with reading the book is we had 2 stuffed animals on display, and the children had to vote for their favorite stuffed animal and why that was their favorite. So we had fun with that.
That's cute.
That's super cute. So, you know, as single moms, oftentimes it's challenging to get to the polls, especially if you have more than one child. Transportation may be an issue. I know here in Pittsburgh, a lot of organizations, churches like Macedonia, nonprofits like VEAM and BPEP are organizing these election carpools. But, you know, you have to overcome these obstacles to even get out and vote. We teamed up with Eat Initiative to give moms the night off. So we're going to deliver these family style meals. And I'm really excited about that. Those went out today. And that gives moms an opportunity to get home and not have to worry about cooking dinner. Any tips for moms? For instance, we're in the midst of a pandemic. If you comment in the chat, we'll randomly pick people. We have hand sanitizers and masks to give away. What else should people know?
You should know to prepare your child before you go. There may be a line and they have to wait in that line. So let them know beforehand. Also, keep snacks on hand and something to keep them occupied, whether it's a phone or a handheld game. Also, thank goodness for early voting. If you can't make it to the voting place on election day, they're offering it on the weekends at different places around the city.
Janaea, absentee ballots are awesome too, because taking my 3 boys to the polls, and that's just not going to happen for me this year. So I will be being a first-time absentee ballot person this year, because I just can't compromise my children, and trying to keep them in line for a very long time just isn't an option.
So Rebecca's tip of the day is to vote by mail.
Yep.
That's really, especially if you have little kids, you know, they might have to go to the potty or they're just getting bored. I know my daughter would like fall out and have a temper tantrum when she was 4 years old. So we're all going to the polls. What issues do you want to raise to the top of the to-do list once folks get in office? For instance, one thing that, you know, that's really going to impact a lot of single moms is paid family and medical leave. The Paid Leave for All campaign is working to give all workers, employees, and entrepreneurs access to these benefits, because, you know, it's something that's a racial justice issue and an opportunity. In California, before passing a paid family and medical leave law, Black women on average took 1 week of maternity leave compared to 4 weeks for white workers. After implementation of paid leave legislation, Black and white women took the same amount of time off. And that really addresses the skyrocketing infant mortality rate amongst Black women.
Yeah, and paid leave is definitely important. In 2013, I lost a baby when I was 6 months pregnant. And during that time, I could only take 3 weeks off, but they were unpaid. And I still had rent to pay and another child to take care of. So if the Paid Medical Leave Act is in place, I would have been able to financially take care of us while I was off.
Mm-hmm.
Paid family leave is important, definitely. As an entrepreneur now, I know that if something happened and I needed to take time off, I would not have paid leave. In contrast, when I gave birth to my son at the time 4 years ago, the company I worked for did offer paid leave. So it's very, very important for families to have that for a variety of reasons.
Right. And Rebecca, you had a story that you were sharing before we got on the live.
Yeah, I was just talking about how, you know, healthcare is so important, especially mental health, even as it relates to paid leave for all. I recently had a surgery in August in which the doctors asked me to take 2 weeks off for my 10-week recovery. And because I'm a new single mom, one income, I was only able to take off 3 days. So that has extended my recovery time, making it really difficult for me. So had the situation been a little bit different and I had assistance, then it would have been better for me.
Right, right. And this speaks to not only us taking care of ourselves, but us taking care of our parents. We joke in our family and say that Fair's the glue because she's the older sister, she's the go-to, you know, and that's something, Fair, you said was a concern for you.
Yes, as the glue of the family, I am the one that is responsible for keeping the family together. So it panics me to think that my parents could get sick And I'm an entrepreneur. My sister is an entrepreneur. And I wouldn't want us to lose income to take care of our parents. And that is not a choice that we should be faced with.
Right, right. I just want to thank all of you ladies for being so transparent and open and sharing your stories. If you're watching this, be sure to share your stories. We invite everyone to share not only the issues that they want to be elevated in this next year, but also, this is a party. How are you getting your kids excited about this year's elections? Our kids participated in a sidewalk chalk competition, just so y'all know. My daughter, she claimed the title, so she's telling y'all in advance. You guys can judge, drop your vote in the comment section below, but everybody gets a prize. It's like we're in the age of everybody gets an award. They're all gonna get gift cards, and we're also giving away gift cards, so be sure to be engaged in this chat. We launched that sidewalk competition, and we invite you and your kids to create a sign, whether it's for paid leave, whether it's for voter engagement. Just get the kids excited. So until we announce the winner, we'll see you guys later. Bye.
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 So I do thank you all so much. And so what we're going to do on the next screen is we're actually going to have some of our kid presidents talk about some of the things that they would like to see in their future.
If I were president, I would keep everybody safe.
If I was president, I would make the cops be respectful to people so people would feel safe, and everybody in America would feel safe in America. And I'll go places in America to find homeless people and get food for them, water, houses for them.
I would like for it to not be like racist, and I would not like if people would be mean to others. And I just would like the world to be great. I will make America a better place by giving money to the poor and by helping schools by giving computers and giving books. I will also get rid of guns because they are harmful. The rules I would make are not to harm the citizens, not to hurt the wildlife.
If I were kid president, I would give everybody free ice cream, and for the lactose intolerant, I would give them special treats. And I would give everybody a nice place to live at, and they would have food and money. And there would be no mean people.
That's so cute. I know if that was me, if I was voting, I would vote for all of them. But again, we want to thank you all so much for, again, spending your evening with us. Keep in mind, please keep using the chat. The chat is there so you can ask questions. Suzanne will be with us all evening to ask any questions. We know more people are coming on, but we want to make sure everyone is up to date and informed about what's going on about the election. And that's why we are having people come out and talk. And so one of the things that we are also very interested in doing is figuring out why people are very interested in the politics. And again, this is a C3 nonpartisan event. So when we have people coming in, we want to make sure that people understand that this is just a conversation that we're having when we talk about issues. And so one of our partners is Mamos con Poder, and one of the people who are joining us now is Sochi, who is also one of the interpreters. And she's going to come on and talk a little bit about the issues that are impacting communities, that Latinx and Hispanic communities, and why people should get involved. Welcome, Sochi.
So exciting to be here. We as Mamás con Poder are a program of MomsRising. MomsRising is our national grassroots on the ground and online nonprofit. And Mamás con Poder, it is a program that is reaching out to Latinas and our families to talk about all the work that we're doing and all the issues that are important to our communities. We organize Latina mothers in all the issues, including paid family leave, affordable childcare, access to healthy food, gun safety, and fair pay for mothers. Now, the Latinx vote overall in the United States is of 32 million. In Pennsylvania, we have 930,000 Latinos, which are 5% of the population. Half of these Latinos are eligible to vote. And considering that previous election was decided by less than 1% of the population, we have a lot of power there. Like I said, the Latino voices are rising. We're organizing in many different levels at many different with many different angles. For this specific election, we have been working, as you know, with so many of our partners and so many in so many ways. We have radio ads in Spanish that are running in the Reading area and Philadelphia, and 3 or 4 radio stations. We also send our postcards in Spanish, in English. We are creating digital content for bilingual Latinas and Spanish-speaking Latinas, because we really believe that creating culturally relevant content is important. And for us to go to our communities, we ask questions. We want to listen to Latinas. We want to know what our communities are, how they're struggling, and what are the issues of importance, so that we can share that with our elected officials. Your stories matter, and we want to hear your stories. Also, we are working with, we have several platforms in both English and Spanish, bilingual Mamás con Poder Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, and we're also organizing via WhatsApp. So if you know a Latina or a person who is bilingual that is interested in engaging in the work we're doing with Latinx in Pennsylvania, you can join us. We're gonna share, my colleague Paula is sharing the link of WhatsApp in the chat. And we also have an email list that you can join us, and we will send information on the campaigns that we are having, events, etc. Now, as Latina mothers, we are, and women of color in general, we're always taking care not just of our children, but our mothers, of siblings, maybe even our grandparents. We are taking care of the entire community sometimes, and we decide a lot of the things that are happening to our communities. We are also motivating our families to vote, and we vote at higher rates than our male counterparts. We are voting a lot more because according to Pew Research, we're more dissatisfied with the way things are going in this country today compared to men. And so we are organizing women because we care and because we decide a lot of the things that are happening in our families. So I'm going to invite you, if you would like to join us at Mamás con Poder, please join us in the link that we're going to add in the chat, and join our email list, join our WhatsApp, and get involved. If you know someone, if someone in your life is Hispanic, Latinx, please tell them about Mamás con Poder and to join the power. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that great explanation, Sochi. And next, as we know, Fawn Walker Montgomery is someone who really doesn't need an explanation. The work that she has done in the Mon Valley has been amazing and awe-inspiring. Take Action Mon Valley is an organization that has been really big and involved over the past few years about expanding and making sure that people all throughout Allegheny County have the same rights and equity and access. And to talk about issues before our elected officials is Fawn Walker Montgomery.
Thank you, Miracle, for that awesome introduction. And thank you all so much for inviting Take Action Mon Valley to be a part of this. For anyone who does not know, Take Action Mon Valley is an organization that's focused on combating all forms of community violence through activism and organizing. This is my daughter next to me, Grace.
Hi.
Say hi. So when this is my husband here as well. So when we talk about Take Action Mon Valley, we really focus on those, I would say, smaller suburban areas outside of big cities. So here, the Mon Valley is outside of the city of Pittsburgh. But I always like to point out that there are a lot of Mon Valleys across the country that are constantly ignored because they're surrounded by those bigger cities, I would say. So we bring attention to a lot of that, and our focus is traditionally the Mon Valley in any area outside the city of Pittsburgh. So I just wanted to touch on a few things here today about politics and civic engagement. So those are not bad words. I know that we've been told that for several years, especially Black and brown people, that politics, civic engagement are these bad things, and they're not. As a former elected official, I've been screaming that for several years now, especially to Black families. Civic engagement is so important, and it actually includes something way more than voting. So voting is important, and that's one way to be civically engaged, but there's so many other ways. Attend your city council meetings, attend your school board meetings, get involved in your local committees. Just talk to your families about politics. I would say I definitely do that probably on a weekly basis. It's not my husband, not my daughter, my mother, my aunts and my uncles, everybody. I'm talking about politics and civic engagement and how we can get, more involved in that process. So voting is just one way to do that. There's so many other ways for us to be civically engaged, especially in local politics. And I think that's something we have to continue to talk about in our circles, in our networks, as well as in our families. And like I said, that looks like going to your city council meetings, school board meetings, voting, running for office, getting involved in local committees, and then holding your leaders accountable. We as the people have more power than the people in power. And I think once we begin to recognize that and organize around that, then we'll become to, I would say, get more powerful. If you really want to talk about how to take back pockets of power, and I always say that you have to understand how something is structured. So you have to become civically involved to understand how it's structured and how you can take back those pockets of power. A lot of times Black and brown people are swayed away from getting involved in politics. A lot of times that's a tool of white supremacy telling us it's not important, or that's something we cannot strive for, but it is. And the more that we have representation of people that look like us, but not just look like us, right, but think like us as well, the more issues are at the forefront with these elected officials, then that will be more powerful. And voting, like I said, is one way to make sure we do that, especially for the Black families. I mean, there's so many things going on with Black people in this country. My condolences to the Walters family. Unfortunately, we had another incident with police violence and killing another unarmed Black man with mental health issues. There's so many families to name. Unfortunately, I would be here for 20 years if I named all of the families that were victims of police violence. It's just ridiculous. So we have the police violence, the racism that is not new. I know a lot of people like to say it's new, but it's not new. It's been going on since the beginning of time. That's how the country was founded, and all the Black and brown people know that, of course. But a lot of people like to think that it's new because of Trump, and it's not. It's something that's been going on for centuries and centuries, especially in these small communities like the Mon Valley. That's why it's so important for people to be civically involved at this point, and especially Black and brown people. We can't continue or even continue to be silent or complacent, really, with how things are going on in our local communities. We have to get involved. We have to vote. We have to speak up. We have to get civically engaged. And I wanted to point something out. I know we were Zoom bombed for a couple minutes there, and I could, tell like how people were uncomfortable. So I just want people to sit in that for a minute, because as Black and brown people and people of color, that's how we live every day, right? So I can't take my daughter away from a Zoom meeting and tell her it's going to be okay, Grace, because we were Zoom bombed, and her life is going to be better. She Black. So this is what she has to deal with on a daily basis. So just kind of sit in that for a minute. I kind of wanted to bring that up when it happened, because I just seen some things were uncomfortable and some people were leaving. But don't do that, you all. If we really want change, we have to be able to be uncomfortable. We got to have these tough conversations with our children. And like, as Black and brown people, I can't take her away from the Zoom and tell her, oh, it's gonna all be okay, because this is her life, and she has to sit in that, and she has to be civically involved and do her part in making sure that we address that. So I kind of wanted to bring that up. Thank you all for putting this together. Please, please, please vote. Please be civically involved in your local communities. There's some great organizations on here that can definitely go over how to do that, and I'll put our information in the chat. Thank you to One Hood, to Mom's Group, and everyone else for doing this together. You all are doing an awesome job. So, and thank you again for having me.
All right, thank you so much for that wonderful wonderful introduction and wrap up, and bringing this all home, Fawn. We greatly appreciate you. And so, as like Fawn was talking about, having elected officials, again, this is a C3 nonpartisan event. We invited a lot of people to come and speak with y'all this evening. However, there is a county council going on right now. So a lot of our county council members could not be here in Allegheny County, but we do have some of our state reps. We have State Rep Summerlee and State Rep Ngady. Summer is going to go first, and then Ed will follow her. Just talk about the importance of voting. So we're going to welcome Summerlee.
Thanks, Miracle, One Hood, everybody who's putting this on. Right before we texted, Miracle told me this is nonpartisan, which is not a problem for me, right? Because I think the reality is that as we are going through these multiple crises, whether we are, or you're struggling most through this global pandemic, or you're struggling at the intersection of the global pandemic and the race issues, or the global pandemic and race and economics, or the global pandemic and race and economics and environmental justice, we are literally at a time where we can't help but to be political. And my sister Fawn talked about this. Sometimes, especially in Black and brown and marginalized communities, we're convinced. We have been conditioned to believe that because so often the people who go to represent us are bad, the people who go to represent us are corrupt, that this position is inherently corrupt. We've been convinced that through years and years and decades of voting for lesser of two evils, that we can never have anything but evil. And what that really has served to do is ensure that we never run for ourselves. What we really need to start thinking about, whether you are excited about this election on next Tuesday, or if you're looking to what we need to do to the future, we have to inject politics into everything we do, because the reality is that we need to be thinking about right now how we're going to rebuild this society in the image that we want it to look like, how we're going to rebuild a society that's big enough to fit all of us, how we are, where we are, whether you're Black or brown or queer or disabled or marginalized in any sort of way. It's incumbent upon us to build that society, because what we've learned is that nobody else is coming to save us. No other politicians by themselves even have the capacity to save us. So I'm here
de decirlo. Estoy aquí para animarles a que salgan a votar, reconociendo que el voto no es lo único que podamos hacer.
It is the least that we can do. It is the first thing that we can do. But with our election on November 3rd, we got to start somewhere. So I want to use, and I hope that we will all sit here and use November 3rd as our starting point. This is our starting point. This is our fresh slate. This is our clean slate. This is our opportunity to come back into the game and start to organize our communities. So the first thing we got to do is we got to vote on November 3rd. Actually, you can vote today. You can vote today with early voting. Thanks, Miracle, I will. When I get hyped up, I do talk fast.
It is totally okay. We just have a couple of interpreters, so that's
That's hard for me. I talk fast naturally.
So we're gonna try. It's okay. Thank you.
It's all good. So look, so this election and the importance of it. If you are somebody like me who was upset by the way that the primary went, who feels like we're never prioritized when it comes to people who are going to represent us, our voices, our needs are never centered. I feel you. I 100% am with you. I'm also not happy with that, but I also know that, and we say it often, the folks here, I know everybody on this call knows this, it's our duty to fight for our freedom. I always say this, our duty to fight for our freedom. It's our duty to ensure that everything that we do is moving us forward, not back. So even though we may not get a single payer healthcare for all system right now, we have to keep fighting and ensuring that we are getting us ever closer to that. Even if abolishing police and prisons are not going to be on our ballot right now, we need to, as our movement, we need to set ourselves up in a position that we are moving us ever forward in that. Even if free public education, K-12, pre-K to 12 is not on the ballot on November 3rd, is not on the ballot right now. Again, we have to make sure that we're moving us closer. And the reality is that we know that we can impact some of these things. Trying to stay nonpartisan is very hard. It's harder than I thought. But think of it that way. Think of it as you're coming out to vote for us. You're coming to vote for the person on the screen next to you. You're coming to vote for the person on the couch next to you, if my sister Fawn. You're coming to vote for your friends and your family who cannot vote because they're undocumented. Or your friends and your family who cannot vote because they're currently incarcerated. We have to make sure that we're voting for our kids because they can't vote because they're too young. We have to make sure that when we're done voting, that we're organizing, and that we're organizing now and in between every single election, so that as we're coming up and we're wondering why we can't get a better presidential candidate or a better Senate candidate or a better congressional candidate, that the cure, the answer is right here on this Zoom call. It's on every one of these Zoom calls. It's in our own communities. So the work that we have to start doing right now is, how do we build up our own bench? How do we build up our own communities so that the system is no longer sending us representatives, but we're sending the system ours? That we're allowing the system, that we're giving the system that notice that we're coming, and that we're not coming to get in to fit in, we're coming to get in to up in. We're coming to get in to dismantle every oppressive system that exists. But we have to organize in our own spaces. We have to organize our bubbles. We have to organize in and out of elections, but also we can't leave anything on the table, no cards on the table. So that organizing has to start right now. So if you're on this call and you got a ballot sitting in your house, make sure that you drop your ballot off. You can drop your ballot off at the Board of Elections on Forbes Avenue. You can park for free for 15 minutes. If you're like me and you're gonna go vote in person, make your plan. I'm taking my mama with me, y'all. My grandma already voted by mail. My sister is waiting for her ballot. Everybody in my family knows what their plan is. Help your family create their plan. No judgment, no shame, just help them create their plan. And if they tell you that they are not sure what they wanna do, that they're not sure if they wanna vote, talk to them. Help them to understand and help them to find themselves in the system, but never shame. So that's what I came here to deliver today. That's what I wanted to say. And I'm even more excited, as anxiety inducing as this time is. I'll be happy when we get to November 4th, but I also know that there's no sleep on November 4th. On November 4th is day one. That's day one when we got to start to rebuild this society. So I always leave folks with, look, a better world is possible. I know a better world is possible because I'm here in these calls with you all, because I've been on these streets organizing and doing activism and fighting with you all. So that better world is possible. It's incumbent on us to create it. So.
Thank you so much, Representative Summer Lee from Braddock area. So now we have Ed Gainey. Ed is going to come and talk to us. I appreciate, I know you've been running around all day, so I do appreciate you, Ed, and welcome.
Hey, welcome, Miracle, and thank you for having me, for everybody to put this together. I appreciate it. Summer covered the whole round, didn't she? You know, she covered it all. But we got to stay bipartisan, right? Not partisan, correct? So I think this is just a great opportunity. For me, it's been a great opportunity. And the reason why I think that this election is such a great opportunity is because it's given me the ability to talk to a lot of young people. And a lot of young people, particularly in my communities, they always looked at politics as a politricks. And so they never wanted to engage in the political process because they really never seen the benefit of doing it, the return of their vote. But a lot of them, I had to explain some things too, that, you know, politics can't save your life. Politics cannot save your life. The only one that can save your life is you. You're the only one that can save your life. Politics is like money, it's a tool, and we have to use that tool in order to create a better environment so that laws that oppressed us, we can overchange and we can implement and amend new laws into existence that helps us out. Voting has always been our tool from the time we got off the boat, from babies separated and sold into slavery, mommy being killed, daddy being murdered, to being 3/5 of a man, Jim Crow 1, Jim Crow 2, couldn't own money, couldn't put no money in the, couldn't own land, couldn't put money in the bank, couldn't go to school, couldn't pray. Black man couldn't vote until the 15th Amendment. Women couldn't vote to the 19th Amendment. You had civil rights, colors here, whites here, mass incarceration to putting the first African-American in the White House. Voting has always been a tool that we can use to improve society. And I think a lot of times as we begin to talk to younger people, you got to let them understand what voting has done and how far it has moved the needle. And that's not to say that we don't have a long way to go. You heard Summer talk about many of the injustices that we have right now that we still have to fight for. And that's why we have to continue to reach out to our young people and say, come on, get involved. This is how you change the game. Voting is a tool that we can use that will always improve if we come together. So it is about organizing. It's about doing some of the things that we need to do to continue to show that we can come together as a community. That's what's so great about this election. You got so many people involved. I mean, right now, you got 16-year-olds that I know right now are so much involved. They're so more politically activated than so many politically knowledge right now than I was at 16. We got to continue to feed that. To me, if at 16, they should be able to vote. If you can get a job at 16 and pay taxes, if you can get your permit at 16, you should be able to vote at 16. They out there marching in these streets. They doing the things that we're asking them to do to help create this change. We need to empower that. And how do you empower that? We need to pass a law that says if you're 16, you can vote. We need to do these things because while we got them politically active right now, we got to keep feeding them. The more we feed them, the more they'll organize. And the more they organize, the more they will help us change the game. The youth has always changed the game, so we need to empower that. Plus, we always got to remind people, the history books might not tell us about our history, but please believe through the power of voting, we've always done things. So let's do what the congressman said, and let's make sure we do some good trouble and pass a voting law act that expands voting because we've seen it with the power of early voting.
All right, thank you so much, Summer and Ed, for joining us and giving us those words to motivate and rally. Again, Representative Wheatley sends his best regards and warmest wishes. He unfortunately was not feeling well this evening and could not be here with us, but wanted to encourage everyone to stay motivated and engaged and excited about this election. And wanted to thank everyone for coming out to the satellite voting locations these past weekends. And for those of you here in Allegheny County, our elected officials have a video. It's not just for us, but they sent a video over that they would like us to look at, talking about what to do. You may see a couple of familiar faces with people who just spoke to you, and John is going to play the video now.
Allegheny County voters, it is time to bring it! Bring it!
Did you receive a mail-in ballot but are concerned about it returning it on time?
That's okay, because you can bring to the county office building at 542 Forbes Avenue during extended hours leading up to Election Day.
Remember, you can only bring your own ballot to the poll.
You got to bring the envelope, the ballot, and the outside envelope.
Counting of the ballots will start as soon as the polls open on Election Day.
If you received a mail-in ballot application and you got your mail-in ballot, but now you want to go to the polls on Election Day, come on and go. But we need you to bring the entire ballot.
Your declaration envelope, your secrecy envelope, and your ballot to the polling place. Just bring it.
Did you request a mail-in ballot but toss it away?
You need to call the Elections Bureau, get another ballot. You still gotta bring it.
So bring it, Allegheny County.
Let's bring it.
Bring it.
Bring it.
Bring it.
Bring it. Game time. Allegheny County voters, you gotta bring it.
Yeah, so I don't know if that didn't get you excited. I don't know what will, but it's a perfect segue because we're about to move into our art section. So get your art, get your music. We're gonna move around. We're gonna have some fun for the rest of our party. We're gonna go back and turn up. So we're going to turn it over to Ryan, who has a really cool musical selection for you and the kiddos to get involved with and enjoy. So you have little children. I apologize in advance, but this is now the time for them to come out, to make some noise, and to turn up. Turn over to you, Ryan.
Yeah, most definitely. Thank you for the introduction, Miracle. Thank you for all of our great speakers so far. I'm gonna do my best to follow that up with a nice little music segment here. So like I mentioned earlier, I'll be doing a sing-along at the tail end of this around, voting and everything like that. But before I get into that, since my background is definitely not as a singer, as you'll see in a couple minutes, but as a music producer, I'm gonna give y'all just, a little lesson on on the foundations of music, on just keeping time, keeping rhythm, that'll be helpful when we do get into the sing-along. Okay, cool. So this is like a much more basic version of the beat that we'll be doing the sing-along over in a minute. It's just a super basic drum pattern, and so I'm gonna use that real quick to teach y'all basically how to keep track of time in music. So how to count beats and everything like that, which is like the measurements used to keep track of time in music. So basically what I want y'all to do at first, I'm just gonna play the beat and just either tap or clap or something like that along to the beat of the song. And once we get, the rhythm down, I'll teach y'all how to count along to that as well. Yeah, so like I said, that's like a really basic drum pattern. I just try to make it super easy to clap along to. I'm gonna add in a couple more drum sounds to make it a little more interesting right now. But now instead of just clapping, any kids that are participating in this, I want y'all to count along to the beat with me. So, as you'll see if you have any background in music actually involves a good bit of math. So if any of the kids on here want to be like a rock star or a rapper, music producer someday, you will have to pay at least a little bit of attention in math class. But I'm going to keep it pretty basic here. And so, yeah, what I want y'all to do now, instead of just clapping along to the beat, I want you to count as you do it. And we're going to count in multiples of 4. And that's basically how you keep track of time in music. It's called beats and bars. So there's 4 beats in every single bar, and then you restart the cycle. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And we're just gonna do it to the same drum pattern that we were just clapping along to. And I'll do that with y'all just so you can follow along with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. So that would be 4 bars right there, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So to give you an example, most verses in like popular songs are 16 bars long. So that's kind of why learning how to count music like this is really important for production, for DJing, for singing, playing any sort of instrument. It's really that foundation of keeping track of the rhythm where you are in the song. And so now I'm going to jump to the actual drum pattern of the beat that we're going to be doing the sing-along to in a second. And I want y'all to do that same thing, is just to count along with me to the drums right now. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Cool. So, like I said, that's how you really keep track of time in music. That's what pretty much every song is based around, unless it's like some crazy sort of jazz where they don't really keep track of time at all and they're just having fun with it. But that, that'll come in handy with just staying on beat in the sing along that we're doing right now. So I'm gonna pull the lyrics to that up real quick so that y'all can see that and sing along with me, which I will absolutely need y'all to, because I cannot sing at all. So I'll definitely need y'all help on that one. But I'm gonna pull up. And so just for the sake of keeping it a little interesting as well, since the lyrics are pretty repetitive, I actually have 2 different beats. It's gonna change halfway through, but it's like the same tempo and everything, so you can just stay right on that same beat. And y'all can just follow my lead with the singing. Let me know if I need to like turn any of the music down or sing louder or anything. But yeah, I'll do my best with the singing. Democracy calling, rock the vote. Democracy calling, rock the vote. Liberty calling, vote, vote, vote. Place calling, vote, vote, vote. Rock the vote, my sisters. Vote, vote, vote. Rock the vote, my brothers. Vote, vote, vote. Rock the vote, my sisters. Vote, vote, vote. Rock the vote, my brothers. Vote, vote, vote. Calling. Rock the vote. Democracy calling. Rock the vote. Liberty calling. Vote, vote, vote. Lady Liberty calling. Vote, vote, vote. Rock the vote, my sisters. Vote, vote, vote. Rock the vote, my brothers. Vote, vote, vote. Rock the vote, my sisters. Vote, vote, vote. Rock the vote, my brothers. Vote, vote, vote. Vote, vote. Vote, vote, vote. Cool. Yeah, so that's what I had prepared for y'all. I hope y'all, took away a little bit from the lesson I had earlier, and got, like a nice introduction into the foundations of music, keeping track of time, everything like that. But yeah, so like I said, for any of y'all that want to be music producers or singers or rock stars or anything like that in the future, that's a great starting point, is just learning how to keep track of time. I mentioned music involves a lot of math, so you got to pay attention to math class a little bit, but it's mostly just counting and stuff like that, so it's nothing too heavy. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed that and learned a little bit.
All right, thank you so much for that, Ryan. Yay! For everyone, I want to get snaps or hand claps for Ryan. So some of y'all may have gotten some election day kits. Some people may have not. But with that, we know we've been doing art for the past couple of weeks to talk about how important voting is. So if you've gotten your kits, you've gotten your stickers, you've got your coloring books, you want to show your art, you can showcase your art. You can show us what you've done right now. If anyone has it, you have your stick. Oh, I see somebody with the coloring. All right, Leah, do you want to come on? Oh, be a voter, raise a voter. I like that. Hold on, let me see. Leah, do you want to come on and talk about what you colored? And then Cassidy, you can come after. You want to unmute?
Hey, so basically what we did, I have some boys and they were here and they did get a little tired, so we kind of excused them. But they are not ones that enjoy coloring, but I pulled out this stuff and spoke to them about voting and why it's important and why it's especially important in this election. And they were more than happy to, you know, go ahead and color all of the things for us. So this is what they did today. And like I said, I got to tell you, I'm very proud because they are not kids who enjoy coloring. They're boys and they enjoy action and moving. So yay, Mark and Matthew. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Cassidy and Crosby, do you know how to unmute?
Yeah, we just did it.
You want to show us what you did?
My sister is right here. I made this.
That's so cool. Can you put yours a little closer to the screen, sister, so we can see? Oh, how cool is that? Your mom is a superhero because she votes. And then I think, is it Shauna? Let me see if I can find you. If you want to unmute. You have art over there? No. Well, we'll just
No, we did not get our kit, but she was excited to see everyone else's art.
3, 4, 5. Yeah, she's counting. So she's gonna follow Ryan's lesson and make some really cool music. So as a reminder, if you take pictures of the art that you put up, Hazel, I think, let me see if I can find you. The hashtag is Moms Vote. Hashtag Moms Vote. You can use this today, tomorrow. I know some of you may have done a sidewalk chalk contest as well. So if that was you, just take a picture so we can see it and we can post it. It's hashtag Moms Vote. We can share that with them and you can share them out and we can reprint them. Hazel, you were trying to show us something?
My son, he won't come back in here. He's 12. His name is Joseph, and he colored this for me, but he's a little bashful right now. From Philly. Ambler, but he's not really bashful, but he won't come in. But I'm showing you what he did for everybody, okay?
Proud mom alert, proud mom alert. We have that. We're so happy that everyone enjoyed the art kits. Make sure you look at the chat because Karen, I'm going to post in the chat how you can still get your election kits. It's got pom-poms so you can dance along to your election day song, and you got kits so we can color and talk about elections. And we know, as we saw in our Single Moms Defined panel, that reading is so important and one of ways that you can get children excited about the election. I see that, Cassidy and Crosby. And so we're going to welcome back Sochi, who's going to read a book to us in English and in Spanish.
This is my son, Alex. Hi. He's 7, and we're going to read this book because it has big letters. I decided it would be good for us to read it. It's called This is Serious Goose. There's nothing silly about this goose. Do not even try to be silly around this goose. Can you see? This goose will not smile at all. Not even if you put a chicken. Una gallina. On her head. Nothing. Even if you wear to dress these goose. Oh, some noise. As a moose. Even if you order a pizza. Oh my gosh. Topped with delicious snails. No smile. This goose means business, serious business. No one can make him smile. What's that? You think you can do it? Ha! You think you can make this goose smile? There is no way. No way. This is a no smiling goose. But go right ahead. Make faces. It's a mirror. See? I hate to say, I told you. Uh-oh. What is this? Something is happening to this goose. No, this can't be. Stop being so silly. This is a serious goose. This is terrible. By the power vested in me, by the order of serious geese and gooses, I hereby command you to stop amusing this goose. Hey, finally. Silly goose, thanks to you all. You are a silly kid. You'll be hearing from our attorneys. Thank you all. Come here.
All right, so thank you so much. This is, again, art is fun. And so moms, dads, parents, caregivers, aunts and aunties, uncles, we have not forgotten about you either, because again, we believe that art is so important for the whole family. And we're gonna welcome again Paula from Mama's Compoder, who's going to walk you through a really cool activity about how you can make signs while you're at home for things you already have, so that you can be creative and ready to rally and turn up the vote this weekend. Welcome, Paula.
Thank you. So obviously when you're, just gonna show you my workstation here. So obviously when you're making art, you wanna make sure that you have all of your materials. So here, we have some oil pastels, which are kind of like crayons, but they're a little bit easier to work with. And then I made this first sign here, which is "My mom is voting for immigrant rights." It might be backwards on the screen, but if you hang it up in your home, it should be on the front side. And then this sign says "Mom's Vote." So if you wanna, let's say that you wanna hang these up outside, I'm gonna show you how to do that. So it's actually pretty simple. First you wanna make the sign, and when you're making the sign, you wanna be careful not to do what I did on the back, where I started writing it and then I realized there wasn't enough space for everything. So the way that you avoid that is you write it in lightly, and then you go back through it and you color it in. So if you make a mistake, you won't be able to see it. And yeah, so first I sketched it out, then I put it on, then I put in one color. So first I put on the red, and then just to give it a little bit more pop of color, I put in a second color, which was yellow. And then what I did was, I'm not sure if you can see, but I laminated it using tape. So what you wanna do is take your tape. You wanna make sure that you're using clear tape, although another type of tape will work. You wanna stretch it out all the way. And then you wanna place it onto your sign. So see here that it's on the sign, and then you will tear the end of the tape. Oops. Kind of hard doing this in the air to show you, but here it is. And then you have to put these little ends to the side. There you go. There you can see. And then that way, that's just going to laminate the whole sign so that you can put it outside. And then you can make little holes at the top and hang it up with string. You can, and this is just a way to show your neighborhood that you are voting. You can also put it on the signs in your yard if you have some of those. And make sure to laminate the back. So you'll definitely need to do something with the back. Or just leave it blank. So that's why I made two signs, is you can put them together. So on one side it says, "My mom is voting for immigrant rights." And then on the other side it says, "Mom's vote." And if you do this, then people are going to be able to see your sign. And you can do all sorts of creative things with it. And it's really just whatever you have in your imagination, and don't feel like it needs to be perfect, because the message is gonna come across. So people are gonna be able to see that your family is voting. And yeah, in terms of what kind of tape to get, I usually don't use this tape, but they were out of the thicker tape. So this one will work. It's a little bit slower. If you use one of the thicker tapes, then you're going to be able to laminate the whole thing in 5 minutes. If you use the smaller one, it'll take a little bit longer. But at the end of the day, you're making art, so it's all fun. And yeah, it's pretty simple. And this is something that anybody can do at home. So if there's any questions, then thank you. Otherwise, that's it. And great artwork, everyone.
How did you get the signs on both sides, Paula? You had the mom's votes, and then you had two separate poster boards, that, and then flip it over. So you had two separate boards.
Poster boards. I started drawing on both of them.
Okay.
And them up, so I just put them together.
Okay, wonderful. Looks good. Thank you.
Like, you can use little sticks and put them, like, you could laminate both of them separately and then use little sticks and use that to, like, put them in your yard. There's all sorts of things that you can do with this.
Okay.
And you can also use your imagination. Yeah, thank you. One thing I did want to mention is that we are going to be putting these on our social media. So if you make a drawing, please take a picture of it, put it on social media. We unfortunately can't, maybe not be able to put it up if it's partisan, but if you're saying, "I'm voting for affordable healthcare, I'm voting for immigrant rights, I'm voting for equal pay," we can put all of those up.
Perfect. I do thank you all so much for that. As a reminder, so art is so much fun. You can do so many things with it. Also, if you want to, recycle some of the things that you already have in the house, the old paper, you can make all type of signs. You can do paper mache. For those of you who may not be as art inclined, you can also do a little chain link decorations with old strips of paper as well. So you want to do whatever you can just to be excited about this election, and to have some bonding time with the family. I know for a lot of people it's been a long few months, and you're trying to figure out different things to do. So having art is one of those ways that you can do that. And again, we want to thank you so much for coming in. And one of the reasons why, again, we want to have people getting excited is that there's a lot of people out here doing really great work, and you love listening and talking with you. And one of those people are our next speaker, which is our state representative, Sarah and Inamorado. Sarah is also here from, Western Pennsylvania. Literally just got off a town hall earlier and rushed over to be with you all this evening. So welcome Sarah. She gives her nonpartisan speech now.
Yes. Hello, I'm coming to you because before I did my town hall in my car about voting, I was at the farmer's market where we were having trick-or-treating. So I was a bat. So I still have my bat costume on this evening. And I'd love to hear from the kids who are on and planning on trick-or-treating what they plan on being for Halloween. So you can have your parents type that into the chat, or you can type it in yourself. And I did want to share with you my I voted sticker, because I thought it'd be good to have a little show and tell. So whenever you go to the polls, however you choose to vote this time, you get an I voted sticker, which is pretty cool. So are there any kids still on tonight? I wanted to see if they had seen their parents vote, if the moms or caregivers are on there. Have you guys voted together as a family? You can go ahead and shake your head, or you can give the little reaction button. You can give a thumbs up or a clap if you've done that. All right, that's so exciting, because democracy is so, so important right now, because really the world is kind of scary right now. It's scary because we have the coronavirus and we have to do school differently, and moms and caregivers are being teachers. The world's scary because we have people who are supposed to protect us who sometimes hurt us and take people we love away. It's scary because sometimes bad things happen in our communities, or they change and we feel like we don't have control. And that's why democracy is so, so important, because when those things happen to us, and when we see those things happen around us, it's our way of making sure that they stop and saying that I love my community and I want to work together to make sure that we can actually have a world that is better and that's more just, and that includes all of us in all of our beautiful diversity. And so when I say democracy, what I mean is, yes, voting, but I also mean that it's our political freedom. It's our expression of what we care about and what we value. It means equality, which actually means that like all of us matter, right? That every single person, regardless of your zip code or the color of your skin or what your ability or disability is, that you have a say and you get to participate in our America, because our America is beautiful because of our diversity and all our different experiences. And the best part about democracy is that it's powered by people. And that means that each and every one of us matter, and that we have a voice, and that voice can be used to advocate for things that we care about for our family and in our community. But, you know, sometimes the people who we send to elected office, they forget that democracy is about people. And so we have to remind them. So ways we do that is voting for people who we know represent our community and are willing to work together on problems. Maybe we run for office ourselves, or we know people that we love and care for run for office. And sometimes it looks like going out into the streets and protesting and saying that, you know, we have to remind the people who are in power that there are way more of us who care about things like justice, like healthcare, like immigrant rights, like racial justice. And when we come out together and we have our really cool signs that we make and we put our creative energy into, that is democracy. And that's such a beautiful expression of our love for one another, and our love for our country, and our love for freedom for all people. And I just want to end with one of my favorite things to do when I am out protesting, because even sometimes your elected representatives have to be out in the streets too, is I love chants. And I was hoping that before everyone gets ready for bed and we wrap up this evening, that we could do a chant together. How's that sound? Okay. And so I'm going to say, this is what democracy looks like. And you're going to say, show us what democracy, or wait, what are we going to say? I'm going to say, show me what democracy looks like. And you point to you, or you point to your mom, or you point to everyone else who's on there and say, this is what democracy looks like. Do you got it? Okay, are we can unmute? I don't know, that might be,
I think
we can unmute. I think that would be beautiful. It'd be a beautiful symphony.
No, it's wet because I drank too.
All right, let's go. All right, show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Wonderful. Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Yes, you are all democracy. You're all beautiful. Thank you so much for letting me spend time with you this evening. My name's Sarah Morado, and if you ever want to talk about the things that you love and hold dear, please reach out to me. And thank you. I do believe that moms are superheroes and all of the caregivers out there. So thank you for spending this time with me this evening. I appreciate you all.
Did you like him?
Thank you.
Super guy.
That was so cool. Thank you so much, Sarah. Greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
I know you've been busy all day, so please go get some rest. So again, we're fun. We have our chants. I think we should have Ryan come back on at the end so we can take our chant with his music and like make a brand new song. But as we're wrapping up, we still have a few more people who waited all this time to speak with you. And one of those individuals is Mildred Tavares, who represents the York Borough Council. Mildred, are you still with us?
I'm still here.
Thank you so much. The floor is yours.
Thank you. At first, I would like to thank each and every one of you for being here and trying to motivate each and every one of the moms that have been there, many of them with their children, and teaching them the importance of not only democracy, but the importance of civic engagement. So my name is Mildred Tavares. I'm a councilwoman for West York Borough. And I want to touch up on what Fawn was talking about earlier tonight. And that is that we have to make sure that we are civically engaged, but that we teach our children to be civically engaged. As we have gotten older, we have learned.
Pasarle lo que hemos enseñado. La experiencia de la importancia del involucramiento cívico, pero muchos de nosotros esperan, especialmente cosas de la comunidad negros, tenemos que aprender nosotros. Yo soy una persona que está aprendiendo junto con todos.
I was conditioned by my family, you know, don't get involved in politics, they're all crooks, you know, they're not here to help you, etc., etc. So I was conditioned not to engage until probably about 5 years ago. And even though I have always been a voter and I have always taken my kids to the polls with me, I was not engaged enough to fight for any cause at all until about 5 years ago when my municipality made national news. And this is something that I had shared before with Karen. Once we made national news, it not only was it an embarrassment, but I felt that my children's ability to even go outside to a park was being threatened. So I put my name on the ballot and made it in there. And it wasn't until I got to serve that I actually understood the importance of being civically engaged and how much it matters, because when it comes to, not politics, but when it comes to a lot of the policies, when it comes to a lot of the ordinances, when it comes to a lot of the decisions that are local, they affect you directly and right then and there. So that is important. We need to teach our kids to be civically engaged always. And I love the fact that there's so many moms in here tonight with their children. After I became civically engaged and became more politically involved, one of the things that I did was with each and every one of my kids, as soon as they turned 17 and a half, I registered them to vote because by the next election, they would have turned 18. And during the primaries, my daughter was right there, right before she hit school. And that is something that I'm trying to teach my children. There is nothing more important than having a voice. If you are not at the table, what do they usually say? You're on the menu. You are the menu. If you are not civically engaged, you are likely to be the menu, and that is going to be served. And if anything, you'll get the scraps afterward. And sometimes not even that. It is very important to be civically engaged. Another one of the things that I want to touch on, it's Mr. Ed was here earlier tonight, and he was talking about how voting is the most powerful tool we have. And yes, it is. We need to make sure that we hit the polls. When you go to the polls, make sure that you're not alone. Take your sister, your mother, your niece, whoever it may be. If they are eligible to vote, make sure that they've already registered. Take them to the poll. Don't hit the polls alone. There's so much at stake, especially during this election. You have to make sure that you speak not only for you, but also for whether it is the immigrants, whether it is for moms, whether it is for your grandmother who's about to lose her insurance, her Social Security, whatever the case may be. But you have to ensure that you hit the polls, and you have to ensure that you take someone with you. Engage other people, not just yourself, because there is so much at stake. And it's going to impact us for years to come. So this election will be not only important, but it will be historic. In the past couple of days, we've heard of the news of the new justice that we have. That is going to impact us for years and years and years to come. So getting out to vote is important. I can't touch pretty much on anything that we haven't spoken already on here. We have had so many wonderful people come through the panel. I'm completely at a loss as to what to say. I was happy and overwhelmed to see a lot of parents. That was important to me. I saw kids there sitting on their parents' laps. You have no idea what you're doing in this very moment. There will be one word that may stick to that with that child, and that will change your mindset forever. The best thing you could do is to engage them. If you're talking like Fawn was saying before, she sits with her kids and they talk politics. If they're at the table, they talk politics. Whatever it is, they talk politics. That means her children are going to be informed of everything that's going on around them. And they are going to opt to make changes. Because let me tell you something. Everyone here on this panel, we are getting older. It is that generation that is coming right after us that needs to pick up the torch. So please remember how important it is to engage your children of anything. If there's anything that we can take away from this, your children. Make sure you engage them. They are the ones that are going to pick up the torch. Wherever you left off, no matter how much good you did, they're the ones that are going to pick up the torch, and they're going to keep on going until we drive this home. And thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're very, very, very happy. All right, we're wrapping up. We have one more speaker. Again, we thank so much to our partners for coming on. We have Shauna from the Women's March, Pennsylvania, who's gonna bring it home for us. And then Karen and I are gonna wrap it up with you. Is that Clifford? Is that Clifford?
That is Clifford, and that is Clifford for President. I highly recommend that book. Also, I think Clifford would be a great president. So I'm here, and Tamara Cohen is also on from Women's March. And this is Sawyer. And I was late getting on because Clifford 2020, yes. I was running a text bank. And so the importance of voting this year can't be overstated. I think everybody has put that point forth. But I want to touch on what Mildred had said about, you know, the reasons to vote and the importance right now of voting your conscience and voting on issues and voting with compassion. And I think that's something that when we talk about why we all need to vote, I think there has been a very deep lack of compassion in our country. And I think, you know, voting kindness is something I've heard quite a bit. And we haven't been moving people to vote in general. We have specifically done women-to-women outreach because women are often left out of this this group. Not just left out of having the ability to be part of the mechanism, but also just left out of the outreach. I can say I've been reached out to by numerous organizations, but no one from any party has reached out to me as a single mom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. She's very excited that there's a lot of people here. She's a great counter. She wants to make sure you all know that. It's also past bedtime, so she's a little bit excited. But what it comes down to is that, you know, we know that women do the majority of the unpaid labor, and we've done the majority of the unpaid labor in the electoral cycles as well, in campaigns, and for that matter, in the protests that Sarah had talked about, getting in the streets. We know that women do the majority of the work there as well. And so when we talk about the importance of voting, we also want to talk about equity. We also want to talk about equity, and we want to make sure that when we're voting, we're bringing people along with us. We're uplifting other groups in that space. And so I don't want to take up too much time with all the great voices that have spoken here today, because I do feel like it's repeating what has been already said. But the beautiful thing about this event is the amount of moms, the amount of women that I see in this space who understand the importance of that and who have come here to hold that space and make sure that everybody passes that knowledge down intergenerationally and takes their kids to vote and shows them the importance of having, you know, autonomy, the importance of having voices in spaces where we haven't had voices before. I'll point to Summer Lee and Sarah as prime examples of that. It's been amazing to see this happen over the last 4 years. So I just want to I'm just going to let it go at that, but thank you very much for doing all of this, and just so much love to all of you.
Thank you so much for those kind words, Shauna. We're greatly appreciative of you joining us and all the volunteering that everyone has been doing over the past few weeks. And we thank you all for joining us on this Zoom. Karen, do you want to say anything to the people?
No, I'm just always, I mean, at this point in the cycle, I'm so emotional, like just being with other people, because you're all so incredible. I'm so uplifted by the chance to be in the room with people doing the work on the daily, you know, not just during election season, holding our families and communities together, demanding the change that we believe in the communities we know we can have. And we know it's a really, really heavy time. And there's a lot weighing on us. And there was before the election, you know, COVID, the economy, how we're all handling all of this. We know it's a lot. And we're just so thankful for all of you and for your showing up and your speaking out and your demanding a better everything for all of us. And a huge thanks to Miracle. It's been, you know, I was laughing earlier. I think maybe that was, and this is an incredible event. I'm so inspired by all of it. And we will clean up the video. Maybe it was meant to be that we weren't able to Facebook Live because of the Zoom bombing. I think the universe actually hooked us up with that. So we're coming back with it. Like all of the great stuff we will make sure is out there and we can share, because we know there are a lot of folks planning to watch. And so watch for all of it coming again and share it with your networks, and, let them know how so much of what happened tonight can also give them maybe that little boost or lift up or reminder of why we're all doing this work. But huge thanks to Miracle and to all the other partners, to Heather and the Single Mom Defined team, to Ryan and Taylor and Sochi and Paula from MomsRising, and Shauna from Women's March. And I know I'm forgetting something, Fawn from Take Action Mon Valley. Who am I forgetting, Miracle? So many people contributed to this event tonight.
It was our electeds, Summer, Sarah, Eds. We thank you so much. Mildred, a county representative, Shauna, our speakers. So we want to thank you. This has been a labor of love. In addition, please make sure you're following MomsRising, liking MomsRising in Pennsylvania. There are a lot of events coming for like families, even after the election. Because of everything going on, it's really, really hard to promote some stuff, and we can't really talk, face to face. But we have a lot of events. We know for those of us on western side of the county, school actually starts in a week and a half in person. And so we're always out here trying to figure out what are the needs of mothers, what are the needs of caregivers, how we can advocate and support, get you connected to resources. So please get in contact with us. Please follow all of the organizers and participants on social media. They have great information, can connect you with so many things going on within the Commonwealth. So we're thank you so much. And with that, we're going to remind you to vote by November 3rd. Thank you so much. Have a good night. I was only like, get home safe. But if you're not at home, I hope you get home safe. For everyone else, I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. So goodbye, everybody.
Thank you so much, all.
Thank you. Have a great